Which story will define the country? The government's polished finance and infrastructure agenda, or the streets filled with shortages and calls for accountability? I'll guide you through Maya's on-the-ground witness accounts and Leo's forensic skepticism, because lives, debt, and basic supplies hang in the balance. There are two stories this week. The government's version, a big, infrastructure-led finance bill and diplomatic moves, and the public version, unrest, shortages, and a demand for accountability. I'll lay out the official timeline first.
Listen to people on the ground. A recording from Kumbo described soldiers hit by an improvised explosive and called the army une multitude chassé, a raw indictment of how security is being used against citizens. Another message warns of supply blockades. More than 40 trucks stalled and cities dead. Food and basic goods threatened if those blockades hold, with real consequences for ordinary families.
Hold on, I hear the urgency, but also a counterpoint. Sport and diplomacy are lifting spirits. On the court, Cameroon fought back with defense. We won the game with our defense. And players like Jeremiah Hill and Jordan Bailey scored 15 points each.
On the official side, the draft finance bill sets total revenue and spending at CFA 1,816.4 billion, a general budget at CFA 1,683.9 billion, and special appropriation accounts at CFA 132.5 billion. It creates a special fund for women's economic empowerment and youth employment of CFA 50 billion, projects a deficit of CFA 631 billion, and lists financing needs of CFA 3,104.2 billion with planned external borrowing and other instruments.
That all sounds ambitious, but many analysts call it a wager rather than just a budget. The real test is implementation. Will funds translate into jobs for women and youth, transparent procurement, and completed roads, not just announcements?
I agree delivery matters. Multilaterals warn of debt risks, and citizens should demand prudence. At the same time, we shouldn't dismiss the morale effect. Diplomacy in Cairo and a hard-fought basketball win can galvanize confidence if matched by results.
But there are clear evidence gaps and contradictions. Deficit numbers float between about CFA 600 billion and CFA 631 billion. Engineering structure totals vary from roughly 1,300 meters to over 1,500 meters. Growth forecasts range from 3 to mid 4%.
And don't forget the human toll. Over the past years, more than 1,700 members of the security forces have died in internal fighting. Any discussion of roads and budgets must answer who is protected and who benefits.
That's why citizens should push institutions, not just slogans. Temper the rhetoric that inflames, invest in watchdogs, and press for audits. Sports and diplomacy are welcome distractions, but they can't replace durable governance.
So we'll be watching concrete milestones. Will the embassy move to Egypt's new administrative capital proceed? Will those road projects be delivered? And how will the WTO ministerial from March 26 to 29, 2026 play into external confidence? Tune in next time as we track whether ambition becomes results.